Hello, everybody. Welcome back to JVMT podcast. We're really excited to be here. And we were more excited because today we have an amazing special guest. His name is Edwin Bridges. But let me go ahead and introduce us, our CEO, Sylvester Raymond. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastico.
Awesome.
So tell us a little bit about what we're going to do today because today we have $1 million idea. And who doesn't want to have $1 million idea come to life? So today we're going to talk about that. But Sylvester, tell us a little bit about Edwin here.
Oh man, Edwin's a great guy. I've known Edwin now for several years. Edwin was the first idea we took on that eventually became the map. Like he was here before the map was even created. We'll talk about that. And he'll tell his story, but man, we got a chance to meet. He hit me with some information I had no idea about, and in his own research, and he had really done a lot of research. And based on that research, we decided to not only build and develop the application that we're going to talk about today, but we invested in that idea and still invested in it today.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for that explanation. Edwin, how are you today? Thank
I'm
you for
doing
being here.
wonderful. I am wonderful, great. Glad to be here with you guys to talk about this app. I love talking about it, so this is great.
Awesomeness. What made you come to this wrong way driver alert system application idea? What made you come with this excellent idea? What
Well,
triggered it?
well, it was back in 2017. I was working at one of the major hospitals here in Dallas, the Children's Hospital, and this particular night, I happened working in the ER department, and we had just had a care flight come in and bringing in a child that was in a accident in East Texas. By our hospital being one of the only children's hospitals in the area, they care flighted them to our location. And while I was there, I had a chance to meet with his one of his family members because in this accident that they had, he was a high schooler. He had his parents in the car with him, and they happened to die in the accident, and he
Mm.
survived. So they care flighted him to Dallas. And when I was talking to his family, his uncle kept saying to me, "If we had only known, if we had only known." And I thought about that because this particular accident, the wrong way driver had been driving 5 miles before he made that fatal contact with that car. So I'm thinking in 5 miles, there should have been some kind of alert system. There should have been something that alerted drivers of the danger that was coming towards them. So after that, it kind of stuck with me. So I went home, started doing research, and then I found that wrong way drivers were common. I mean, and after that, I started paying attention, and I realized that I was hearing about a wrong way driver almost every other day.
Mhm.
So statistically, I looked at it and I said, this is a problem. And I thought about it. Now, this is going to be like the how you say it, the intervention from, I'm going to say, the Lord,
Okay.
because as I was thinking about this, a voice came to my head, and it laid the whole process out to me of how I could stop this, what we could do to alert drivers. And I remember the last thing before I got up to tell my wife about it was the voice said, follow through. So I got up, I talked to my wife, she saw it was a great idea, and I decided to move forward. When you first start something like this, never been involved in any kind of app development, I didn't know where to go, who to talk to. So I did a lot of research on different companies around the United States because I couldn't find any here in Dallas that I knew of. So eventually I found this company out of Florida. They kind of started me on my way, but you
Now let
know,
me before you finish that one, I gotta interject here. I gotta,
okay,
I gotta interject there because this is
I'm
because
long
what you're
winded.
about to say is very important. and I want people to know how important what you're about to say is. Okay, and this is where most people. This is what you did was not the best thing, but
Mm-hmm.
it's what almost 100% of people do.
Right.
And what he did will help people understand why that 99.99% failure rate continues to happen in mobile apps. Because everybody does what you did, and it's not, and I don't think it's the customer's fault. I think it's our fault as developers, because all we do is develop the app. But I want you to go ahead and tell the story so people understand what not to do if they're out there looking at this and they have an idea. Go ahead.
Well, I say the thing that I really learned the most from this is that you want to be with a company who is transparent, who's hands on, who kind of leads you through what it is that you need to know. Because, like I said, when I first started off, this company out of Florida, I'm even going to mention the name. It was called a company called Zapparoo. They started my project. They got as far as building my pitch deck, and after that, the company went out of business. I couldn't find them no more. They didn't answer the phones, so I started looking at reviews, and there was other customers in the same position that I was in, where they had started their app, but they were gone. So at that point,
And you had already spent money with them. I'm not gonna say
yeah,
how
I had
much, but
spent
you had spent
over
about
$10,000.
over 10 grand with them, right?
Yeah,
And at the end of the day, even if they were to follow through, the only thing that they were contracted to do is build your app, right?
exactly.
Okay, go ahead. Mhm.
And I'm glad you said that, because during that process, I spent money for app development. I spent money at another company for a business plan and all the other things that come along with being able to present my project. So after Zapparoo went out of business, I laid in the bed that night and couldn't sleep. And then that voice came into my head again and said, "Work with what you got." They had took me to a point where I could go to someone and say, "Well, this is where I'm at now. This is my idea, and let's see where we can continue." But at this point, I was kind of untrusting of anybody that I couldn't meet physically, that wasn't in the same state that I was in, where I could go and look at my project. So one day, a friend of mine, he asked me that I wanted to go to this conference in Frisco at the Country Club, with it Damon John's
Mhm.
conference.
Mhm.
And while we were in there, the orator asked, "Is anyone here have their own business?" And that's when Sly stood up, and I said, "This is a brother, and he was the app developer, and he was here in Dallas." I said, "Man, this is a blessing right here." So I told my friend, I said, "Hey man, we got to meet this guy after this conference is over with." So when the conference was over with, I looked all over for Sylvester, couldn't find him. I said, "Oh man, he got away." So we happened to be walking to the parking lot, and Sylvester get out the car, because the guy that I was with, he is a master pit at this barbecue place. And I think Sylvester got out and said, "Hey man, didn't I see you over at this barbecue place?" And he said, "Yeah." So I said, "This is the guy that I wanted to meet." So anyway, we hooked up, and it was like friends
Yeah.
at first sight. I mean, we went to his office, we sat down and talked. I felt so comfortable about what he was telling me and how we could move forward. And one thing I did like about working with JV Marketing was that it was like a one-stop shop. I didn't have to, at this point, I didn't have to go around looking for other companies, because, like you said, with this MAP program, it kept me on route. It kept me where I needed to go without spending extra money or having aggravations dealing with this person, that person. So, from that point on, I just
So let
knew
me ask.
Sylvester was the guy for me.
Well, thank you. Let me ask you a question though. Let me ask you a
Yeah.
question. You're the first person. Like the first person. You get all the good stuff and the bad stuff that happens, right? Because Crystal wasn't there. We didn't know Crystal. Nobody knew
Right.
her. She brings a great marketing mind to what we do, which is why you see so much activity now, because she's
Mhm.
actually doing a lot of things now with that. Um, uh, Talk about some of the challenges that we've had in terms of getting in front of people, just because well, let me back up for a second. Let me back for a second so people understand something about the process of what we went through. One of the things that you heard Edwin say, he had an idea and he had an epiphany. He had a word from God that we need to do something. In fact, his words to me were, I don't know how this app should be created, but there should be a mobile app for wrong way driving.
Mhm.
And we literally took just that information and his research and developed the topology for what that should look like. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But it was sort of like it went from, we got to build one app, to no, we actually need multiple apps. We need a user app and we need an app for um, uh, uh, emergency response to be able to pick that information up. And so, because we didn't think about that ahead of time, we actually created that PFR unit that we'll talk about out of our pocket, which was awesome, because
Right.
we knew. But that's the different. That's because we're investors with you,
Mhm.
so we don't. We didn't mind the cost. But what was it like when you first saw the user app and the PFR unit and it did the detection the first time? Because I know there was a first time you saw it, like in 2018.
Well, it was amazing. I mean, to see it coming to fruition, to see that I had a working app. I had an app that not only detected wrong way drivers, but also was able to alert uh, police, fire, rescue. I mean, and give them exact GPS location of where that accident was. I knew that was a game changer right there, because um, not only we were being proactive in so many ways. We were helping drivers, and we were helping law enforcement with this situation. And you know, when we went and talked to companies like NTTA, they tried to throw things in front of us. Well, we had other people try this, and they couldn't do this, they couldn't do that. So we just looked at them and said, okay. So we went back to the drawing board, and we came back. Okay, you said that the problem was that someone else tried to do this, but it was inconvenience because it was waking people up in the middle of the night, or it wouldn't work in a parking lot. So we went back, we addressed all those issues, and we came back and said, okay, here, now you don't have a problem with waking people up at night, because we made it so they could turn it off if they wanted to. We made it so that it wouldn't be obtrusive to your phone where it would drain your battery. You had it where it just sit in the background and not drain your battery. It only came up when needed. I mean, we made so many changes, even with the radius. I mean, where we could make the radius go from 10 miles to 25-mile radius. I mean, those are all game changers. And they looked at us, and they knew that we did our due diligence, and they really couldn't come back and say anything like that again. So, I take my hat off to Sylvester, because his mind has always been working to make it better, to take it to different places. And that's kind of where we are right now. And it's so funny is that everyone that we talk to about this app, I mean, it's a great idea. Man, why we need this. I mean, I get phone calls every day from Illinois, Texas, to wherever I got family or friends. Man, we had a wrong way accident today, man. We need your app. So, it's been great to see how it has transgressed over time, and I'm looking forward to where it's going to end up.
What do you? Let me ask you another question, because we did a business plan. The business plan you had was okay, but the
Hmm.
business plan we did was very
Yes,
exhaustive.
yes,
Would you say?
yes, I do.
And we've been able to find investors already into the idea. We're still
Hmm.
open to investors, but we already found investors that looked at it and said, "Wow, this is great." We've also created some great marketing material, I believe.
Hmm.
that we've been able to use to really show what we're doing. If you were to talk to, because you have a background in law enforcement and you also have a background in transportation, is that right?
Transportation, yes.
Transportation. And
Yes.
so from your purview, you see you've seen some of these accidents, other than the one in the hospital, but you've actually seen them on the road.
Oh yeah, I mean, I mean, when I first moved to Dallas, and you know about Dallas,
Mm-hmm.
you can go the wrong way in a minute here,
Yeah.
and and I looked at that, and I looked at how many families. I mean, when you see an accident, there's a chance that you're going to survive, but when you see a wrong way accident, your chances of survival are really decreased. I mean, because most wrong way drivers end up being fatalities, and so with my background in transportation, like I said, I've drove all over this country. I've seen how each region of this country has its own problems. But I noticed that when I moved to Texas, that Texas led the nation in wrong way driving.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in 2015, when I did my research and study from 2015 to 2018, there were over, what was the number? I think it was over 3,896 deaths in
Wow.
Texas alone. And what that was telling us is that every 2 hours and 15 minutes, someone was killed in a car accident in the state of Texas.
Wow.
And that's just, to me, that just didn't make any sense. And then we started looking at what Texas was doing to prevent wrong way drivers. There was signage, and then they started coming up with infrared. But it
Mm-hmm.
was costing them millions of dollars just to do what 2 to 5 miles of roadway, where we have an app where you could do 25 miles of protection
Well,
for
we upped it to 50. Remember, we upped it to 50 miles.
that's right, 50
A 50
miles
mile
of
rate.
protection
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
for half the cost of that. So it was a no brainer. I mean, insurance companies were looking at it and they could see how it could save them money with their clients. So it was just so many different avenues that this app could really be a lifesaver and help people out.
Edwin, one of the things I've noticed about you is your big heart. Like, you really do care about people. And I think that's where this idea came out of. And so if you were to tell people, like, if they had an idea that was, that they wanted to have developed, and again, I say idea developed, not just app developed. We know that just creating the app, you have still a 99.99% failure rate.
Right, right.
But if they had an idea, what would you tell them to do before they even came to talk to us?
I would say get feedback. I would say, because like I was saying, if you build it, they will come. That's not always the case.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make sure whatever it is that you're doing, that your heart is in it and you're willing to take it all the way. You have to realize that success or it's not success is not going to come right away. I mean, it's a long process. You have to be in it for the long game because it's not going to happen overnight. But I would say if you have an idea, I would say write it down, do your research, do your due diligence, because you're going to have to explain to whoever's going to build this app or whoever's going to help you with this business that it's going to be viable. It's going to be something that can move forward. It's not going to be just something that's going to be here today and gone tomorrow. So I just say you really have to get ready for a long game. It's not a short game. It's not for the weary at heart. Because I'm be honest with you, when I first thought about this app, I thought you build the app, it's out tomorrow, you're good to go.
Wait. I want people to hear what you just said and why that's not the way now, keep in mind, you're like 90, what you were thinking was like 99.99% of people build the app and
Mhm.
they'll come, right?
Right.
So explain that again, what you just said. Don't do what?
I think I said, you can't be weary of heart. You got to be in it for the long haul. I mean, because it's even though you think it's the greatest thing ever, you still have to sell yourself, sell your product, and you have to have the understanding that this is gonna take time. This is not gonna work today or tomorrow, but you have to be ready to go the distance with it, basically.
Let me ask you this question. So when we gave you a business plan questionnaire, right?
Hmm.
You filled that out, the questionnaire,
Yes.
right? Now it took some work to go
Yeah.
do research and get that information, right?
Hmm.
But who did the heavy lifting for you?
You guys did.
We did,
JV
right?
Mark, right. I mean, you took a lot off my plate. You
Took a
took a
lot off your
lot off
plate.
my plate.
When
Yeah.
it came to developing the marketing materials and that type of thing, you gave us ideas, you gave us information.
Hmm.
But who did the heavy lifting?
JV Marketing.
It was JV Marketing. When we came to you with, hey, here's our idea, this is what we think it should look like. Who wrote the algorithm? That only and by the way, you have the only algorithm in the world that correctly detects wrong way driving. Who created the algorithm?
Uh, Dr. Sylvester Raymond, JV Marketing.
and
I
I'm
mean,
and I,
it was amazing. I mean, because we have another friend, Bert Robinson, Coach Robinson.
mhm.
Coach Robinson, I always call him Egghead because I mean, he thought of that. He came up with this idea and with this algorithm that no one else could build. I mean, like you heard earlier, people had tried, but they failed. We went back to the drawing board, nipped and tucked until we got it just the way we wanted it.
Mhm.
No extra frills. We got it to do just what it is that we wanted to do: to detect wrong way driving and to alert drivers to save lives.
And I think that's the point is that you got an opportunity to sort of go through this program with us. We got a chance to kind of test the waters. But one of the things that we knew, and this is even before Crystal came on, one of the things that we knew and we worked together on is that you have to plan your work and then work your plan. You can't just work a plan out of your
Right.
head. You really need to write it down, especially for investors to get it, for them to
Hmm.
understand it. Like you said, if it's a great idea in your head, that's one thing, but people aren't in your head.
Right.
They haven't seen everything you saw. When you first came to me, one of the first things I said to you is that really a big
Yeah.
deal?
You
You
sure
don't know if you
did.
remember that.
Yeah, I do. I do.
I said, is that
Because
really a big deal?
that's why I was so. When you asked me that question, I said, "Okay, I'm gonna throw these numbers at him." And I threw the numbers at you, and you said, "This is a big deal. This is a problem." Because when I went into it, I didn't think it was this. Like I said, you hear about wrong way accidents, but I didn't know how widespread it was. Not only in Texas, but there in California, in Florida. I mean, whoever we talked to, it was a problem with wrong way drivers.
Mhm.
And everyone wanted a solution, but it was so cost effective that I don't know, it seems like they tried to put a band-aid on a bullet wound, and I knew what we had was better than anything that was out there right now.
Well,
I knew.
and that's the thing. That's the thing. So as we look, so what you're saying is even today in 2022, we have departments of transportation spending, like you said, millions of dollars for whatever. What are they spending it on?
Infrared camera signage. Um, that's basically it's the only thing that I've seen here in Dallas. They tried the signage things where you got flashing lights, wrong way. But like I was reading this, that most wrong way drivers are caused by drunk drivers and older drivers. They say drivers 70 years and older
Mhm.
are in more wrong way accidents than we know, and drivers who drive alone. So if you got those kind of situations, when someone's impaired, they see a flashing light. I don't really think it's going to do much
Yep.
good for them.
Well,
But
it's
at the
not.
same
It's you have the data. It's not.
Right. And at the same time, okay, you stop that, but you haven't alerted. Because my whole thought for this was, how can we alert drivers, other drivers, the victims?
Mhm.
So with this app here, it helps with the person who's going the wrong way because it'll come up and say, "Hey, you're going the wrong direction. You can change your course of action."
Uh-huh.
And if they don't do that within a certain time, then it sends out alerts to other drivers that a wrong way driver is coming, which gives them the opportunity to to get out of the way, to be defensive, to know what something is coming down the road.
Uh-huh.
And to me, that like the guy told me who started this idea, if we had only known. So we wanted to give them a way to know.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's how we came up with wrong way driver alert.
Yeah, it's been interesting, and so now today we are at a point where are we now with the app as far as you know. I don't know. I think I've told you everything, but what's going on in California? What's going on in Texas?
Well, in Texas here, we're talking to a lot of, well, basically what we're trying to do, we're trying to get downloads because like this app here is a community-based app. The more downloads we have, the better and more effective it's going to be. So right now, we're just trying to get the word out to get downloads. We've been talking to these driving schools. We got a lot of driving schools who are going to sign on and make that part of their curriculum as having their kids download this app. Um, we've talked to insurance companies to help them with their clients to reduce their insurance rate with this app. So
Uh-huh.
we're just basically right now, we're just trying to get the word out and get people downloaded. Because if you think about it, there's no insurance policy you can get for free. But
Uh-huh.
wrong way driver is the insurance policy that you can have for free. It doesn't cost you anything to download.
Uh-huh.
We just ask you to download it and be a part of our community.
Now the other thing that's going on, and those are great things that are going on as well, but two other big things are going on finally with wrong way driver alert system in Texas. We're scheduling. We finally getting a scheduling with North Texas Tollway Association in August. We're going to do a demo for them, so they're excited, and we're excited to show it to them. And then in California, we have Caltrans.
Okay.
Caltrans, which is the DOT for California, they've accepted us to affiliate program, which is the program right before you get to the pilot program, which is amazing. So we'll be in that affiliate program to test the software for about 3 to 6 months to be ready to go. We got about 2 more minutes, 2 3 more minutes, Edwin. Uh, we've enjoyed working with you over the last several years. One of the things is we just don't give up. That's the one thing about JV and our MAP program. Again, you have developers that will write it and then they're done.
Big guys.
They're sort of done. With us, we still host it, we maintain it, we do updates to it, all the bugs, malware fixes, installation issues, we take care of those. And we also are, because we are partnered, like literally partnered in contract with you, we also go and we go to bat with you. We do demonstrations, we do all that other stuff. Chris was right now creating additional marketing for the program to help get people to download and help people to see it. Um, Edwin, in the last couple of minutes, just tell us, why would you, of all the companies that you could go to, of all the companies, your experience with JV Marketing Technologies, why would you trust and why would you refer people to us if they have some big $1 million app idea? By the way, we call it $1 million app idea because we know that what our cost is, and to Caltrans and to NTTA, they know what the cost is. They haven't balked at it, but it's several $1 million over 5 years. I'm not going to say the number, but Edwin's about to become a million. I'm just going to let you know that's what's going to happen. It's just what it is. And so, have you been a millionaire before, Edwin? I don't know.
Only my dreams.
Oh, your dreams. Okay. All right. So now we take that dream and make it into
Make it
reality.
reality.
Your wife, I'm sure, would be happy with that as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
But why, it's been a long journey. We're staying with you. We've never quit on you. Why would you suggest and refer JV Marketing Technologies today?
Well, you kind of gave the answer. Number one, you never quit. Um, you and I, and I think that anyone who really wants an honest opinion or a company that's going to go to bat for you, you don't want yes men. You don't want someone that's going to agree with everything you say. You want someone that's going to give you feedback. You want someone who can. Me and Sylvester, we went back and forth so many times, just going over ideas, and you want someone that you can go back and forth with, bump heads with, talk about, and then still get the business done at the end. You know, whatever, if it was something that I said that he felt wasn't going to work, you know, we talked about it. He just didn't go ahead and, because he was getting my money, just go ahead and do it. We always figured out the best way to do something. You know, we always figured out what was best for wrong way driver alert. And, you know, I always respected that because, you know, like I said, the first company I went to, they just wanted my money. You know, they were telling me how they wanted the app to run, even though I was telling them, I think I want to go this way, you know. So one thing I appreciated by JV Marketing, working with Sylvester, was it was like you were talking to one of your buddies where you could disagree to disagree, or, you know, and it always worked out good.
Well, thank you, Edwin, man. I really appreciate your time, man. Thanks for taking the time with us. We love this type of conversation, man. We get to talk
Yeah,
about you
I appreciate it. Yeah.
more than about us. Crystal, any last thoughts?
I just want to commend Edwin for not quitting on himself and the idea, and for following his heart and going with the flow of this idea. I know that sometimes that when we get burned or when we see that somebody did something bad to us, we quit and you're like, we're not doing this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going through this anymore. However, you saw the bigger picture of being able to save lives and giving the opportunity for people to see the light in that aspect. So I commend you for that. And I commend Sylvester for giving you the opportunity and a chance, because he qualifies people. He doesn't just bring just anyone.
Right,
So
right.
he must have seen something in you and in your journey and in your idea. So this is why we're here today. So, and I want to thank everybody who has been watching from Facebook and LinkedIn. So I just want to say real quick, go ahead and follow us in our Facebook if you're watching through Facebook, and our LinkedIn if you're watching through our LinkedIn. We'll see you guys all in 2 weeks with more amazing topics. And Sly, go ahead and finish it off.
Thank you, Edwin. Thank you,
All righty.
Crystal. I love both of you guys. I appreciate you guys. If JV Marketing Technology would not work without YouTube, that is the truth. And so
Well,
thank
you
you
know,
so much.
I just want to thank you guys. Thank Crystal, because I've seen Crystal has been a bright light on your company. I mean, she really has made things different, and I appreciate her. Easy to talk to, and she knows what she's doing.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Crystal.
Appreciate you both.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Dr. Sly. Appreciate you,
Appreciate it.
bro.
Well, thanks again. And we are out in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.